The first thing I heard was the glass shattering. Not from me dropping it. No, I was standing there frozen, but from someone else bumping into the table as every single head in that ballroom turned toward her. Marlene was crying. No, screaming. It wasn't the quiet, delicate kind of crying you see in movies. It was raw, like someone had just ripped her heart out, and it cut through the music like a blade. I didn't plan to be there. I didn't even want to be there. I was only at that company party because my new business partner insisted we make an appearance. We were standing by the entrance, him shaking hands with everyone, while I scanned the room for the nearest exit. And then I saw her. She saw me a second later. It was like time stopped, and I swear even the chandelier above us seemed to hum louder. She didn't say anything, just stared, her eyes wide, her makeup starting to melt. And then the first tear hit. And another. Until she completely broke down in front of everyone. Her colleagues, her boss, people holding champagne flutes like they'd just witnessed a car crash. The funny thing? I wasn't angry. I wasn't even smug. I just stood there, watching her crumble, while my chest filled with that heavy, suffocating weight I thought I'd buried 3 years ago. People started whispering. One guy leaned over and said, do you know her? I wanted to laugh in his face. Know her? I knew every crack in her voice, every freckle on her shoulders, every lie she told me back when I still believed her. And as I stood there, frozen like an idiot, she walked straight toward me. Her heels clicked like gunshots on the marble floor, her mascara smeared, and I realized something. I wasn't ready for this. Not for the tears. Not for the crowd watching. Not for the words I knew were coming. Marlene stopped just a few steps away from me, trembling like she'd been caught in a storm. The entire room went quiet. So quiet that I could hear the soft clink of ice melting in someone's glass across the hall. She looked at me with this mix of desperation and guilt, the kind that makes your stomach twist even before a single word is said. I hadn't seen her in 3 years, and suddenly, here she was, broken, sobbing, unable to hide from me or anyone else. Eli. Her voice cracked, barely louder than a whisper, but in that silence, it echoed like a gunshot. I froze. I didn't move. I didn't even blink. Every nerve in my body screamed to turn and leave, but my legs refused. I could feel every set of eyes on us, like the whole room had turned into a jury waiting for a verdict. She took another step, reaching out as if to touch me, then pulled her hand back like I might burn her. I have to tell you something, she said, her voice shaking. Something I can't carry anymore. I should have stopped her right there. I should have told her that whatever story she was about to vomit into the open air was her problem, not mine. But I didn't. I just stood there like an idiot, with every emotion I'd buried clawing its way up. You think I just moved on? She said, her voice getting louder, cracking. You think I'm fine? I'm not. I ruined everything. I ruined us. And I see you now, and I can't. Her words broke apart into sobs. She dropped her purse, and its contents scattered across the marble floor. Lipstick, keys, a crumpled photo of us from years ago. That photo hit me harder than anything else. Why the hell was she still carrying it? Her boss tried to step in, awkwardly placing a hand on her shoulder, whispering something about going to the restroom to freshen up, but she shook him off. She wasn't letting this go. Eli, I lied to you that night, she blurted out. The night you left. I told you I didn't love you, but I did. I just thought I didn't deserve you. And she choked on her own words, tears streaming down her face. I made the biggest mistake of my life. The crowd didn't know what to do. Some people were pretending not to watch, sipping their drinks with fake nonchalance. But you could feel their curiosity buzzing like electricity in the air. My business partner, Sam, leaned over and whispered, Dude, what the hell is going on? I couldn't answer him. I couldn't even think straight. I felt like the floor had disappeared beneath me, like I was back in that moment 3 years ago when everything fell apart. Part of me wanted to scream at her, to remind her of all the nights I stayed awake wondering why I wasn't enough, why she chose someone else. But another part, this weak, pathetic part of me, just wanted to know why she still cared. Before I could say anything, she reached into her purse and pulled out something I didn't expect, something that would set off a chain reaction I wasn't ready for. When Marlene reached into her purse, I expected tissues, maybe her phone, something ordinary. But when she pulled out that worn, creased envelope, my stomach dropped. I recognized my own handwriting on the front. My name, Eli. That was impossible. I hadn't written her anything since I left, and the last note I gave her, if you could even call it that, was a hastily scribbled, "I'm done," on the kitchen counter before I walked out the door for good. Yet here it was, in her shaking hands, as if she'd kept it all this time like some cursed relic. She clutched the envelope like it might dissolve if she let go, her sobs quieting into this eerie, hollow calm. "I found this the night you left," she said, her voice trembling but loud enough for the front row of spectators to hear. "I've read it every day for 3 years. Every damn day. And you have no idea what it's done to me." I felt my pulse spike. My brain raced, trying to remember what I'd written, if I'd even bothered to write more than a few bitter lines. What did she mean? I opened my mouth to say something, anything, but she cut me off, her voice rising with a raw, jagged edge. "You think I didn't suffer? You think I just moved on, smiling, laughing, living some perfect life? No, Eli. I'm haunted by you, by what I did, by what I ruined." People were now openly staring, whispering behind their hands. I could feel their judgment hanging over me like a heavy curtain, and I hated it. I wanted to grab her by the shoulders and tell her to stop, to not drag our past through this glittering ballroom where strangers in suits and dresses were eating overpriced hors d'oeuvres. But I didn't, because deep down, a part of me wanted to know where this was going. She tore open the envelope with shaking fingers and pulled out the note. My note. She didn't read it aloud, but she waved it like a weapon. This letter, made me realize I was the villain in our story. I lied, Eli. I cheated, and I thought I could live with that, but I can't. Not when you're standing here like some ghost I thought I'd never see again. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I saw Sam's face twist into a mix of confusion and disbelief, like he'd walked into a soap opera and missed the first 20 episodes. "Is this for real?" he whispered to me, but I couldn't answer. I was too busy reliving the betrayal, the gut-punch feeling of those final days with her. "Why now, Marlene?" I finally asked, my voice low but sharp. "Why here? Why in front of everyone?" Her eyes glistened, but she didn't flinch. "Because you walked in here looking like you survived me. Like you won. And her voice broke. "I can't carry this anymore. They all think I'm perfect, Eli, but they don't know I destroyed the only person who ever really loved me." The silence that followed was suffocating. It was like the entire room was holding its breath. Then, suddenly, someone from the back shouted, "Is this part of the entertainment?" A nervous laugh followed, but it died as quickly as it started. Marlene turned to face me again, gripping that letter like it was keeping her alive. "I still have something to tell you," she said. "Something I never told anyone. Not him. Not my friends. Not even myself until tonight." And before I could respond, she reached into her purse again, this time pulling out something that made my blood run cold. When Marlene pulled the second item from her purse, I didn't know what to expect, but I swear my breath caught in my throat when I saw it. It wasn't anything obvious like a photo or a ring. It was a small, black flash drive. A stupid little thing that looked so ordinary, yet the way her hand trembled as she held it made it feel like she was holding a live grenade. The entire ballroom felt tighter, like the walls were inching closer, and everyone was leaning in now, waiting for the next act in this mess of a public breakdown. She looked at me, her lips quivering. "You don't know the whole story, Eli," she said, her voice cracking. "That night, 3 years ago, it wasn't just about us. There were things I did, things I kept hidden because I was too much of a coward to face them. And now I think you deserve to know the truth." The way she said the truth sent a chill up my spine. It wasn't just the usual guilt or the cliché confession about another man. This sounded bigger, darker. I stared at the flash drive, my mind spinning with all the terrible possibilities. "Marlene, what the hell is that?" I asked, my voice sharper than I meant it to be. Her eyes darted around the room, seeing all the people gawking, the whispers spreading like wildfire. "I can't do this here," she muttered, her voice low but still loud enough for the closest few to hear. I thought I could face you and just say it, but it's not that simple. This isn't just about us anymore. It never was." I felt a surge of anger I hadn't felt in years. "Then why start this scene? Why drag me into whatever this is if you're not going to finish it? You wanted my attention, Marlene, you've got it. So talk." She flinched at my tone, but her jaw tightened like she was building courage. "You think I cheated because I stopped loving you," she said, her voice rising. But that's not why. I was scared. I was being blackmailed, Eli. And I didn't know how to tell you without destroying both our lives. That man you saw? He wasn't just some fling. He was part of something I got caught in, something I couldn't get out of. The room was dead silent now, and I felt my heart thundering in my ears. Blackmail? This was the last thing I'd expected to hear. What are you talking about? I demanded, my voice low and dangerous. She looked at the flash drive like it was a confession written in fire. Everything is on here, she said. The messages, the threats, the photos he sent me. The night you saw me with him. I wasn't. I wasn't there because I wanted to be. I was trapped, Eli. And I let you believe I was the villain because I didn't know how to explain any of it. I thought if you hated me, at least you'd be free from all of this. My stomach twisted, my mind reeling. Was this real? Or was this just another elaborate lie? I could barely process what she was saying. The people around us were still staring, some pretending to scroll on their phones, but I could feel them listening to every word. Sam nudged me and whispered, "Man, I don't know what kind of drama you've walked into, but this is insane. Do you even believe her?" I didn't know. God, I didn't know what to believe. My memories of that night 3 years ago were so tangled with pain and anger that I'd never considered there might be another side to the story. Then Marlene stepped closer, holding out the flash drive like she was offering me her heart. "Everything I couldn't tell you is on here. Take it, Eli. If you still hate me after you see it, fine. But at least you'll know the truth." I hesitated, my hand hovering in the air, and that's when someone behind me, a woman I didn't recognize, suddenly spoke up. "Don't take it," she said sharply, her voice cutting through the tension. "Eli, don't you dare touch that thing." I turned to see who had spoken, and for a second, I thought I'd imagined it. Standing a few feet away was a woman I'd never seen before, her dark hair pulled into a sleek bun, her expression sharp and unnervingly calm. She wasn't part of the gawking crowd. She wasn't whispering or smirking like the others. No, she looked deadly serious, like she'd just walked in from a completely different world. "Don't take it," she repeated, her voice low but commanding enough that the surrounding people instinctively stepped back. "You have no idea what's on that flash drive, Eli. If you touch it, you're in this mess just as deep as she is." I blinked, my brain trying to catch up. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice cutting through the tense silence. The woman gave a small, humorless smile. "Let's just say I'm someone who's been cleaning up Marlene's disasters for far too long. Someone who's not about to let her drag another person into it, especially not you." Marlene's face twisted, a mix of anger and fear flashing in her eyes. "Claire, don't," she snapped, her voice trembling but firm. "This isn't your choice. He deserves to know the truth. I'm not hiding anymore." "Claire." I glanced between them, my confusion boiling into frustration. "Okay, what the hell is going on? Who are you to her? What's on this thing that has you acting like it's radioactive?" Claire tilted her head slightly, her eyes narrowing like she was sizing me up. "You think this is just about a broken marriage, about some affair? No, this is bigger. It's bigger than her, bigger than you. And if you have any sense of self-preservation, you'll walk away right now." The room seemed to hum with tension. People who had been watching for entertainment now looked genuinely unsettled, like they'd accidentally stumbled into something dangerous. Sam leaned toward me and muttered under his breath, "I'm telling you, man, this feels wrong. This is not the time or place. We should get out of here." But I couldn't move. My feet were glued to the floor. For 3 years, I'd built this wall inside me, telling myself I'd never need answers, that I could live without knowing why Marlene had ripped my life apart. But now the answers were dangling right in front of me, inside a tiny flash drive, and this stranger, Claire, was telling me to let it all burn. Marlene stepped closer, her voice shaking as she turned to me. "Don't listen to her, Eli. Claire works for them. She's part of the same machine that ruined us. I don't even know if she's here to protect me or shut me up for good, but I can't keep quiet anymore. If you don't take this, I swear you'll regret it for the rest of your life." Claire's expression didn't change, but her hand moved slightly toward her coat pocket. "Marlene, don't do this," she said, her tone calm, but carrying a weight that made my stomach clench. "You think exposing this will fix anything? It won't. It'll just make him a target, like you were. Do you really want that on your conscience?" A cold wave of unease swept through me. A target? What the hell had Marlene gotten herself into? I opened my mouth to demand answers, but before I could say a word, Marlene turned on Claire, her voice suddenly rising in fury. You think you can scare me? I'm done being scared. For 3 years, I've been living with the weight of this, hiding, pretending to be someone I'm not. Not tonight. Not anymore. The flash drive shook in her hand as she shoved it toward me, her eyes wild and pleading. Take it, Eli. Take it now, before she stops me. And in that moment, before I could decide what to do, Claire took a single step forward, her voice dropping to a near whisper that still sliced through the air. If you take that drive, Eli, your life will never be the same. And trust me, you're not ready for what's on it. I stood there with my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears, the tiny flash drive between Marlene's trembling fingers and Claire's razor-sharp gaze locked on me. Every muscle in my body screamed to walk away, to throw up my hands and say, this isn't my fight anymore. But it was. Somehow, it always had been. My entire life had already been shredded once because of Marlene, and yet here I was, frozen again, the same desperate fool who couldn't stop looking for answers in the wreckage she left behind. Eli, Marlene whispered, her voice cracking like glass under pressure. You think I'm asking you to take this because I want to pull you back into my mess. But I'm doing this because I can't trust anyone else. Not him, not them, not even myself. You're the only one who'll believe me. The only one who'll understand why I did what I did. Claire took a slow, deliberate step closer, her tone calm, but cutting through the air like a knife. She's manipulating you. You think you're special to her? You're just the safest place she can dump this poison before it explodes in her own hands. Walk away. You survived her once. Don't let her drag you back down. I clenched my fists, my throat tightening with anger and confusion. Can someone, either of you, just tell me what the hell is going on? I don't want cryptic warnings. I don't want guilt trips. I want the truth. What's on that drive? Marlene looked at me like she was about to shatter. Evidence, she said, of things you can't even imagine. Things I did, yes, but also things they did. I was blackmailed into helping cover it all up. And when I broke down, when I couldn't handle it anymore, they threatened you, Eli. They threatened to destroy you if I didn't play along. For a second, my mind just stopped. Threaten me? What are you talking about? No one ever. Of course you don't know, she snapped, her voice sharp and desperate. I made sure of that. I cut you out to protect you. I told you I didn't love you. I let you believe I was cheating because I thought it would keep you safe. But I've been watching from a distance for 3 years, wondering if I made the right choice. And tonight, when I saw how alive you look without me, I knew I couldn't carry this alone anymore. I had to give it to you, because it's the only way to end this. Claire's expression darkened, her hand slipping fully into her coat pocket now. I caught the glint of metal, maybe a badge, maybe something worse. You're lying to him, Marlene, she said, her tone so low it made my skin crawl. You've been lying since day one. That drive doesn't have the truth. It has the kind of information that will get him killed if it ever leaves this building. I've spent 3 years making sure this didn't blow up, and you think you can just hand it to your ex like some twisted farewell gift? My breath hitched as I glanced between them. This wasn't just 2 women arguing. This was war. I felt the weight of every pair of eyes on me, the murmurs of the crowd behind us turning into an uneasy silence again. My business partner Sam stepped forward like he was going to intervene, but I shot him a look that told him to stay back. Eli, Marlene said softly now, tears cutting down her face. Please, if you ever loved me, take it. Don't trust her. Don't trust any of them. Just take it and leave. Tonight. Before they get to you too. Claire took another step, her tone suddenly cold and commanding. Put it down, Marlene. And Eli, walk away. You're not ready for this. You're not strong enough for what's coming. And that's when something in me snapped. I didn't think. I just grabbed the flash drive from Marlene's hand. The room seemed to collectively gasp. Claire's eyes widened, not with fear, but with something worse, resignation. You have no idea what you've just done, she said. Marlene's shoulders sagged with relief, but before I could even process what was happening, Claire reached into her pocket and pulled out something that made the entire ballroom erupt in chaos. The moment Claire's hand came out of her pocket, the entire room erupted like a shaken soda can. She wasn't holding a weapon, not exactly, but the sleek black device she gripped was unmistakable, a security badge and a small, matte black remote that looked far too professional to be anything harmless. The lights from the chandelier glinted off it, and for a second, the entire ballroom froze as though everyone could sense that something dangerous had just been introduced into the room. "Give me the drive, Eli," Claire said, her voice sharp, controlled, and terrifyingly calm. "You don't understand what you've gotten yourself into. This isn't a game between you and Marlene. This is classified information. If you hold on to that, you're not just screwing yourself. You're putting every person in this room at risk." I could barely process her words. Classified? What did that even mean? My palms were slick with sweat as I clutched the flash drive tighter, every instinct in my body telling me to run, but my feet wouldn't move. Around me, people were backing away, their fancy cocktails and champagne glasses clinking nervously as they tried to figure out if this was real or some deranged performance. Security guards from the hotel began moving closer, but Claire shot them a glare so lethal that they actually hesitated. Marlene stepped between us, her voice breaking as she shouted, "Don't listen to her. She's lying to you, Eli. Everything on this drive, everything they tried to bury, it's proof. Proof of what they made me do. Proof of what they threatened to do to you. If you give it to her, it all disappears, and they'll win again. You'll never know the truth. I can't live with that." Claire's lips curled into a humorless smile. "You think he'll survive if he knows? You think the truth will save him? You're even more naive than I thought, Marlene. Hand it over, Eli. Last chance." My brain was screaming for me to make a decision, but all I could feel was this dizzying swirl of anger, confusion, and the bitter taste of every unanswered question that had haunted me for 3 years. I looked at Marlene, her face streaked with tears, her entire body trembling, and I wanted to believe her. God help me. I wanted to believe that there was a reason for all of this pain, that maybe she wasn't the monster I'd convinced myself she was. "Eli, please," Marlene whispered, her hand brushing mine. "Don't let her take this from you. Don't let them bury me again." But Claire wasn't waiting for me to decide. She suddenly pressed a button on that remote, and a sharp, ear-splitting alarm filled the ballroom. Lights began flashing, and within seconds, the hotel's private security swarmed toward us. People were screaming now, rushing to the exits as the alarm echoed off the marble walls. "Eli, run!" Marlene screamed, grabbing my arm and pulling me toward a side hallway. My body reacted before my brain could argue. I shoved the flash drive into my pocket and followed her, the sound of Claire shouting behind us drowned out by the chaos of the crowd. We burst through a service door into a narrow corridor lit by harsh fluorescent lights. My lungs burned, and my mind was racing with 100 questions, but all I could manage was, "What the hell is going on, Marlene? Who is she? What is this?" Marlene's eyes were wild as she grabbed my face with both hands, forcing me to look at her. "You don't understand, Eli. That drive, it's not just my mess. It's about them. The people I worked for, the things they covered up. If Claire gets her hands on it, you'll never see the truth. But if you keep it," she hesitated, her breath ragged. "If you keep it, they'll come after you too. And they won't stop." I opened my mouth to demand more answers, but before I could, the door behind us slammed open, and Claire stepped through with 2 men in suits who didn't look like ordinary security. "Eli," she said, her voice calm again but carrying a deadly weight. "You've got one chance to make the right call. Give me the drive, and you walk out of here alive. Keep it, and you have no idea what kind of hell you're inviting into your life." And as I stood there, cornered between Marlene's desperate pleas and Claire's cold threats, I realized I had only seconds to decide whose version of the truth I was willing to risk my life for. For a few seconds, time stopped. I could feel the flash drive burning in my pocket like it was alive, like it was demanding I choose a side. Claire stood there with her men, calm but tense, her eyes locked on mine as if she already knew what I was about to do. Marlene clutched my sleeve like a drowning person reaching for air, her eyes pleading with me to trust her one last time. My heart pounded so violently that I felt dizzy, but I realized something in that moment. This wasn't about her or Claire or whatever was on that flash drive. It was about me. About finally taking control of a life that had been twisted by secrets, lies, and regret for far too long. "No," I said, my voice steady, surprising even myself. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the flash drive, holding it high so both of them could see it. "I'm done letting other people decide what I get to know, what I get to feel. If there's truth in here, I'm going to find it, on my terms. No more running. No more fear. Claire's jaw tightened, but she didn't move. She studied me for a moment, then slowly raised her hands as if conceding. You really don't know what you're getting into, she said. But maybe that's what you need. Maybe it's the only way you'll see how deep this goes. She turned to her men, signaling them to stand down. Let him walk out. If he wants to drown, it's on him. Marlene gasped like she couldn't believe Claire had actually backed off. I didn't wait to question it. I grabbed Marlene's hand, something I hadn't done in years, and pulled her toward the exit. We didn't stop running until we were outside, the cool night air hitting us like a wave. The city lights glimmered against the black sky, and for the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. We found a quiet corner by the parking lot, both of us bent over, catching our breath. Marlene looked at me, her face streaked with tears but glowing with something I hadn't seen in a long time. Hope. You didn't have to believe me, she whispered. But you did. I don't deserve that, Eli. I never did. I looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time I saw not just the woman who broke me, but the woman who was broken herself. Maybe not, I said quietly. But maybe we both deserve a second chance to stop living in the past. She reached for my hand, hesitating like she thought I might pull away. I didn't. I squeezed her hand and felt this strange warmth bloom in my chest, a feeling I thought had died years ago. Over the next few days, I went through the flash drive. It was bad, worse than I imagined. There were files, messages, and records that proved Marlene had been trapped in something ugly and dangerous. But she was right. Knowing the truth didn't destroy me. It set me free. And when I took what I found to the right people, real professionals, not shadowy operatives like Claire, I watched it unravel. There were arrests, headlines, justice. Marlene and I didn't jump back into love overnight. It was too complicated for that. But we started talking, really talking, for the first time in years. And slowly, as the dust settled, we found a strange kind of peace. Maybe even a future. 3 years ago, I walked away broken and humiliated. But that night at her corporate party, when she cried in front of everyone, I realized something. Sometimes the past doesn't destroy you. Sometimes it gives you the strength to build something better. And for the first time in a long time, I'm not looking back.